Welcome to Gray Overload, and I'm getting caught up on some of the items I wanted to cover on this channel. One of which is what Louis Rossman covered as well, and some other people, is the crew licensing is shutting down. Now, this is a game Ubisoft decided to pull the digital license and shut down the game, and you know, there should have been a better way. Let's get that out there right in the beginning. This point is starting to get ridiculous, right? The digital license, right, of these games you no longer really own. You're buying a license to the game, and at this point, anybody seems to be pulling that license whenever they feel like it. You're not seeing these games like we used to, especially when you bought a disc, that you could just go up and still continue to play them. There should be an offline mode at the very least. These games should be able to still be played. People are paying their hard-earned money for this, Ubisoft, and you just throwing this all away for them again gets you what you probably are getting with the Crew 2 being review bound, right? I think, yeah, the Crew 2 is being review bound. I wouldn't even call it review bound. That was a headline from a couple places, but that was off of, I was looking at some of my research for it, and Gamer Rant had that headline. Is it really review bomb if you're going to take the license away from the original game, The Crew, and just say, yeah, we're getting rid of this, but, make sure you like and buy our next game. It's so great. That's going to cause anyone to have apprehension to go and buy your next game. And maybe the solution here is that games are going to have diminishing returns of people that want to buy the next version after they pull the digital license. And over time, that they're just going to diminish gamers. Granted, that's going to probably lead to less games being designed. And the more that they do this, they're trying to force people into a scenario like this. But if you have a popular game that people like to play, people are just going to sit on the sidelines. I do like some of the things that GOG does where, they make the game, you can download the exe, and then you can install that for as long as you have the exe. Now, one thing I like to see there is a lot of these companies do the same thing. Why do we need DRM on a game or so involved in a game that it makes it impossible to have an offline mode? Now, impossible from the company's standpoint. I'm sure that there's some very smart people out there that can figure out some workarounds. So you guys do what you do best and figure out those workarounds. But this thing of just letting software just be like, yeah, we're done. We can't do this. We're not going to support it anymore. And even though you bought the license for it, guess what? We're not going to be there. Is very annoying, and it's going to be a huge problem in the market, I think, going forward. I think more and more people, and we're seeing this already over the years, more and more people are going through and getting more frustrated. Hence the review bombing, hence the, bad reviews you're getting on your next game because of actions you took on the prior game. That's just your cause and effect. I don't even think it's really review bombing. I think it's the cause of your actions, Ubisoft, is kind of the what you get. It is what it is. You decided to make your bed that way. Here you go. But there needs to be a better way, and I'm looking for a piece of software for not gaming related, but to help somebody else out. And what I like to do is try to, figure out complex problems. And one here is trying to find a piece of software that doesn't exist anymore by Brother. And I keep thinking, and I go back to it, like, if you don't want to have a piece of software, old version, whatever, and you took out some of the conversions and whatever in the new piece of software, and it doesn't really kind of work or whatever, or you stop supporting it, or you stop developing it, why not either open source it? Maybe you can't, or maybe release a version saying here's a free version or whatever else, or I'm willing to buy the piece of software still to this day, and I still can't get a hold of it yet. But even with the game, buy the piece of software. You can play this offline. There's no DRM. You're just going to be able to use it. We're no longer supporting the game, as in if there's a problem with computer, graphics card, whatever. We're not doing it. Maybe AMD, NVIDIA, Intel will try to fix it or whatever, but or maybe the community will do it. But for overall, we're not going to support it, but you are free to still play this game and continue to enjoy it. This is how software should really be. I'm a software developer myself, right? And I've gone through developed software over the years, and what I like to see is people being able to have results of a piece of software. Getting rid of software to me is just it hurts me, especially when I develop it, right? And I could see if these developers, and I didn't see anything yet on these developers, what they said. I know this publisher, Ubisoft, they say take a hike for all the gamers. But I like to see my work out there, right? I like to see my work continue, and if it has to be shut down, EOL'd, no longer sold, it's sad inside, but then being taken off the market completely and being told and pulled, like you're pulling their digital license and saying, oh, you can't use it anymore. That's got to hurt the developers that worked on it and worked so hard for it, and it's a piece of their work that's just gone. And I sympathize. It's not fun because it's like, oh, you can point to it and say what you did. Now, somebody else can be, oh, is that game that Ubisoft pulled? That's not what you want to be known for. You want to be known that it brought, joy. It brought, completion, got people to work better. Whatever your piece of software developing is, you want to have the positive side, not something Ubisoft did. So this is disappointing, and like Louis Rossman said, this whole digital ownership thing it's it's not digital ownership, right? It's it's a renting thing. You're spending, let's say on new games, 80, 90, $100 if you have all the DLCs. And we saw this with some of this. Now sometimes it's only the first DLC. It's not all of them. Paying $100, a digital license, and all of a sudden, guess what? You got to buy more DLCs. Fine. They added that in. Now it's like, oh, you have the DLCs and everything. You spent, let's say, $150 on a game. We're going to pull that later on. We're just not telling you currently today that you're going to spend as much as you know, a physical game media should cost or is costing, and we're just going to pull it. This is getting ridiculous, and there's going to be some sort of correction as we're seeing as gamers get more and more vocal. I really hope that these companies start taking a viewpoint as in, let's have games out there, because what's going to happen is, I still like going and playing old games. If you guys have watched my channel for a long time, you'll notice Half-Life is one of my favorite games. I really enjoy going back and replaying Half-Life. But let's say I get, Tomb Raider is one that I'm getting, I've played most of those and I enjoy those. But let's say they were to pull the digital license and now I'm no longer to play them. That's one thing now that you're losing that category, that catalog of digital art, that digital gaming, that digital media forever, that people are not going to be able to play and be able to enjoy and be able to come back to. It's not all about the newest game. Sometimes people want to go back and play the old games, and with all this DRM, which I think there's better ways to do it, much better ways. As a developer, there's much better ways to do this, and or be able to actually then also remove it if you want to have it there to begin with. But just think, you cannot, if let's say you have kids down the road, and I have kids now, and I think about this, and there's a game you like, you want to share that game with them, and all of a sudden that's pulled and you can no longer do that. There's going to be a mass amount of media here and games, if this continues, that no one is ever going to be able to replay, ever be able to enjoy again, and it's just going to be forgotten, and it's just going to be a story time saying, I remember when this was a good game, and it's just gone. And that's, I think, the saddest part, because even today we can go back through and you can get Oregon Trail and certain places and play that, right? You can do certain things like this and still enjoy those that you were able to enjoy as a kid, and be able to share those with your kids and hopefully your grandkids. But some of these new games with these digital licenses aren't going to be that way, and I think that is going to be One of the saddest things with all these developers developing all these good games, of course, indies don't really have all this DRM as much, but they're going to be gone, and I think that's the saddest thing, especially for the developers that worked on them and the players that enjoyed it. Just think, you can never re-enjoy or enjoy the game again, and that's why people are upset, and that's why Ubisoft, you're getting the uh, you're getting the review bombed, even though it's just the the cause of your action or the reaction to your action. So with that, let me know your thoughts on below on the whole digital licensing and Ubisoft just pulling this. Do you worry about some of the other games that you have that they may not be able to be played in the future? And let me know that in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching Gray Overload and helping this channel grow. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, watch another one of my videos, as it really does help out the channel, and God bless.